Welcome back to my channel. Today I was at Shoppers Drug Mart looking for iron and vitamin C, and instead I bought makeup because that's just what we do. Also, I can't find iron anywhere in Shoppers Drug Mart. I don't know what's going on, but Amazon to the rescue. Back to the makeup. I was perusing the makeup aisle as one does, and I came across some new displays from COVERGIRL and from Physicians Formula, and I was intrigued. So, back it up. A few videos ago, I put out a video stating what are the 20 things that I'm not going to buy in 2020. One of those things was a foundation. I've now bought 2 foundations since then. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, I bought one from Bite Beauty. I ordered it from Sephora, so when it arrives and I've had a chance to play around with it, I will give you my thoughts on it at that point. But the one that I picked up today was from COVERGIRL, and this is part of their Clean Fresh line. This is the Skin Milk Nourishing Foundation, and I picked it up in shade 520 Fair. It's made with coconut milk and aloe extract. It's meant to blur imperfections, even out skin tone. It has sheer, buildable coverage with instant and all-day hydration. All right, sounds good. They also have, as part of their Clean Fresh line, cream blushes. So I picked up the shade 350 Flushed, and as well they also have lip oils, and so this one is in the shade Swipe Ripe. So I picked that up. Now, oh, one more thing, sorry, a stick highlighter. This is their Cooling Glow Stick, and the shade that I got is So Guilty. And then I found the Physicians Formula display, and they now have a whole new set of products along with their Rose line that they released probably about a year ago. So I have talked about the setting spray before. This is the Rose All Stay Illuminating Setting Spray. Huge fan, excited to see more products along this same line. So I didn't pick up everything. They had complexion products as well, but I'm trying to very actively reduce the amount of foundation that I am bringing in, despite the fact that I've bought 2 so far in 2020, and it's, the 11th. I did not pick up the Physicians Formula ones. They also had like a highlighter with a highlighting balm or something. I'm not sure. There were other products. I only picked up 3 things. So one is like a lip crayon. This is the Rose Kiss All Day Velvet Lip Color, and I grabbed the shade Kiss All Day. Oh no, sorry, First Kiss. Too many words on the back. I also grabbed their cream blush. So this is the Dewy Blush Elixir. Now this isn't part of the Rose line, but it's part of their new organic wear collection. They also had different mascaras in this. I opted not to buy those because mascaras are another item, and I felt guilty enough about buying the foundation, so I skipped over on the mascara. Also, the packaging was really bulky, and I am at max capacity for storing mascaras right now. So at any rate, I picked up the blush, and this is in the shade Pink Berry. And then I found a palette from them, and first of all, the packaging is sleek, it's cardboard, it makes sense. Normally Physicians Formula packaging makes me want to like stab my eye out. This, I can get down with all day long. Even like the little plastic sheet, like the little window here, it's a little bit chintzy, not the greatest quality, but I'm okay with that. I will live with that because this packaging, I can store. I can just put this on top of a pile and not put stuff on top of this. Most of their other packaging, way too bulky. So quite pleased with this. And also this is the kind of color story that speaks to my soul. So what I have done is I've done this entire look here, full face of drugstore makeup. So where it's missing from the items I've just shown you, I've used other drugstore items, and I will show that as we go through the voiceover. The only non-drugstore item that I used, I didn't show in the voiceover portion, and it's just the contour powder. I don't have a drugstore one, so the one I used is from Natasha Denona. So I've done it as a voiceover because it's Saturday. Bennett's currently napping. Aspen wants to play. So she was playing in the room with me, doing her makeup, putting on some fake nails, doing the thing, and then her and Barrie just went on the other side of the wall here, and they were playing on the VR set. So I don't feel right telling them that they have to be silent just because I want to film, so we're gonna do it as a voiceover. Having said that, let's get straight into it. Here we go. All right, so I'm starting off with this NYX Bear With Me primer. And I do like this primer. It feels more like skincare than anything else. It's just very moisturizing, but it does have a very jelly-like consistency, and I kind of wish that it came with a spatula or like a little spoon type thing, because it's kind of hard to scoop it out and not have it fall all over the place. That's the only drawback to this product. Now it's time for an Aspen cameo. She loves being on camera. Oh, she lipsticked me. And now going in with this COVERGIRL Clean Fresh foundation. It is alarmingly light for my skin. Despite my best shade match efforts in the store, it is way too light. It looks like face paint. It all works out in the end once you put like all the powders and everything on, but the shade range on this product is not fantastic. I normally do not have a problem finding the correct shade, but the next level up from this was way too dark. So I'd rather go too light than too dark. It did blend out fairly easily, but in a couple minutes you're gonna see that it just did not sit well on my skin at all. And you can see just how much blending I'm doing. A, because I'm trying to make it a little less of a stark contrast between my face and my neck, but just hold on to your butts, you'll see what I'm talking about. Going in with concealer here, this one is the Candid Concealer from Revlon, and I don't use a ton of Revlon products, but I actually do like this one, particularly on days when I'm not wearing a ton of other makeup with it. It does have a bit of a lower coverage, more medium, I'd say. And I just find that if I'm not wearing foundation, it just looks far more natural on my skin. And it blends out nicely. Like I said, it's about a medium coverage, so nothing fantastic, but on a low to basically no makeup day, it's all good. Now, get ready for some pan porn. Look at that. And subsequent to filming this, I have actually gone ahead and finished that. So, spoiler on my upcoming project thing, my 20 projects, whatever, I can't remember what I called it. I think petite project pan, maybe? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so now I'm looking at my skin and realizing it looks effing atrocious. I did not know that I had that many pores, but this foundation brought them all out. Put them right on display. You can see that the foundation's just sitting on top of my skin, and every little speck of peach fuzz, it looks awful, like awful. And I have blended the ever-living hell out of it. You can see I'm still blending in the background, and that was before I took these pictures, and it just looks atrocious on my skin. Yeah, not happy. So I came to a bit of a fuck it stage, and we'll move on. I could only use one blush, so I'm just demoing what the COVERGIRL one looks like here. It's a rather scary color. It does blend out, which is nice, but it's pretty intense straight out of the tube. And then I've gone in with the Physicians Formula one here, which is a much more user-friendly shade for my skin tone. And just a nice, pretty, pale pink. So you can see I just applied it with my fingers at first, and then I'll go in with a brush just to blend it out even more. But you can see that it is fairly subtle on the skin, but you'll see soon when I turn my head to face the camera that you can see it, even though it looks like it blends away to nothing. You can see the difference between the blushed cheek and the unblushed cheek. And now just going in with the stick highlighter in the shade So Guilty, just a little bit apropos considering my career path, and just putting all of that on When I did the powder earlier, I only did under my eyes just to prevent any creasing from the concealer, so the rest of my face hasn't been set yet, which is why I'm going in with all these cream products now. And this stick foundation actually did blend out quite nicely. It is very subtle, but it does blend out nicely. It doesn't like stick to one spot and refuse to budge. So on the whole, I like it, even though it is on the subtle side. And now I'm going to go in with a loose powder to set the rest of my face. I don't know what I was trying to accomplish by flipping the box around, but there you have it. So I'm not using a ton of product, and I am like just sweeping it lightly over my face. I don't do the whole baking thing. I'm 39 and I don't need any help in the looking crepey department. This bronzer did me dirty, so I didn't notice it at the time, but now in editing this video, I realized just how patchy this bronzer applied, and I'm not happy about that because that is one that I've used quite a bit. Now going in with the Catrice eye primer here, I gotta say I'm loyal to my MAC paint pot. This one's not bad, but it doesn't cancel out any discoloration. I like my soft ochre paint pot because it just gives me a very blank canvas and covers up any discoloration. And now we're going into this palette. Look how pretty it is. It's so pretty. And I really, like, I say it in the video, but I really do have to give like props to Physicians Formula for not using ridiculous, stupid, bulky packaging. And look at the pigmentation. If you saw my Fenty Beauty mini palettes review, this palette blows that one out of the water. The pigmentation is there, the blendability is there. These are fantastic shadows. I'm very, very happy with this palette, and I have used it quite a few times since I filmed this video, which to me is a sign of a good palette because a lot of times I review them and then they just kind of languish in a drawer and I never bring them back out again. But this one is in my like top drawer kind of deal, and I have reached for it quite a few times. It just blends nicely. I love these tones. I love pink eyeshadows. Like, I just find that they bring the green out in my eyes. They're very flattering, and I like the way they look. This eye, however, is a bit of a punk, which is why I don't often feature it on camera. My right eye, the one I'm doing now, is much more cooperative. The other one has a bit of a weird shape, has an extra fold in the eyelid. It has like a little patch that never wants to blend. It's just straight up a rebel without a cause. And then going under the eyelashes, I cannot look in the mirror while I'm doing this, or I stab myself in the eye without fail. I just have to go by feel, because if I look down, it's game over. Going in with the brush, not the blush, the brush that I used to put that darker pink shade on, just to help with blending out. So even though I'm picking up a lighter shade, there's still some of the dark on there. I just find that that helps to make the blending just a little bit easier. Also, I don't always show like every single step, but usually every time I apply a new shadow, I go back with like the previous brush and blend where the two shadows meet, just to make it as much of a smooth gradient as possible. So I go in with the brush with this shimmery shadow and then realize that it's just not quite up to the standard that I would like it to be in terms of the payoff. So let's try it with the fingers. And the fingers are the winner for this one. It's just a bit more impactful and just the way that I like it. But frankly, I like that the palette gives you sort of that versatility. If you want a more subtle effect, use a brush. If you want it to be as shimmery as possible, go in with your finger and away you go. So see, you can see again, I'm just blending there. And now I'm going to take this shade and pop it into the inner corner and along the brow bone. It doesn't translate on camera. It does have a very tiny amount of shimmer to it. Not glitter, but shimmer. I don't really like a matte inner corner highlight. This one works because it has that little bit of shimmer. Now I'm going to do my brows. My brows are nothing fancy, which is why I pretty much never show them on camera. I don't spend a ton of time on my brows at all. I have fairly thick brows to begin with, so this is really just for show, like just to even out the brows, but I could, in theory, just get away with not doing anything with my brows, and I'm quite happy about that because I watch tutorials where people spend like 20 minutes on their brows, and I don't have the patience or the time for that kind of shenanigans. And just setting them into place. Then I'm going to do my waterline with this nude pencil. Barely keep it in frame, but there she is. I could have used like a pinkish purple or something like that, but frankly this was just easier. Oh, so this Catrice liner and I, not friends. We are not friends at all. And I store my liners with the tips down so that the product can like sort of run to the tip, I guess. I just said the word tip far too many times. But this was dry AF, and it's not old. It has not been used all that much. It's just not the kind of liner that I enjoy using at all. It just sticks to itself, and you can see I'm trying to shake the ever-living hell out of it, and it still won't fill in. Like I was going to do a bit of a flick. I can't with this liner, and since I filmed this, I have retired it because it is just so frustrating to work with that you can see it's just moving my eyelid. It's not drawing a line, it's just grabbing and just pulling, and so I give up entirely and move on to mascara. This is the one from CoverGirl, as you just saw. It's good. It's not great. It's not the best at the drugstore. It's not the worst. You can see, like, it doesn't do anything completely amazing, but for an everyday kind of mascara, it's not bad. It's just not the most amazing thing out there. Now I'm going on to this Lash Paradise glitter topper mascara thing. It's not great, my friends. It's not great. Also, neither are my videography skills because barely in frame. It just doesn't put a lot of glitter down on the lashes, which I don't know, maybe that's so that you don't like blind yourself with loose particles of glitter. I don't know, but it just overall does not give the effect that I would want it to. And there are my eyes. You can see they look a lot greener because of the pinks and purples going on. And now we're going to move on to the lips. I'm going to put the lip oil on first and just show that one. It's actually really nice. Like it feels really nice on the lips. Doesn't really have a smell to it, which I kind of like. Doesn't really have a taste to it, which I also appreciate. And then I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off. Oh, another cameo from Aspen. There she is. Kisses for my girl. Isn't she lovely? She's the sweetest girl on the face of the earth. All right, so moving on to the lip pencil from Physicians Formula. This one does have a little bit of a scent to it. Come on, Carrot, lift your head up. Up, show the lip. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay, anyways, you get the idea. It is very smooth. It is very creamy. It is so comfortable on the lips. I definitely am interested in picking up some more shades in this line because I really like the product. I think I was going down a rabbit path. It does smell a slight bit like rose, as does the eyeshadow palette, to be honest, but it's nothing distracting. It's beautiful. It's like a My Lips but better, but it is such a beautiful shade. And then I figured, what the hey, may as well top it with the lip oil and see what happens. And I like the effect that it gives. Doesn't really change the color all that much, deepens it up just a hint, and then obviously makes it look a little bit more glossy. And then going in with the setting spray, gotta shake the crap out of this or it does not, like it gives you like little blasts of glitter that kind of sit on the skin. But if you shake it, it's beautiful. And my God, does it ever smell good. If you like the scent of rose. If you don't like the scent of rose, basically just stay away from anything rose scented. Oh, see, I like it. All right, so once that dries down, I'm going to do my awkward stare at the camera and show off my makeup look. There we go. And I'm gonna wrap up this voiceover here. Bye, guys. All right, and there we go, guys. Those are all of the items that I picked up today, applied to my face, with the exception of the one blush, simply because I've only got 2 cheeks and they weren't colors that would really mix together. Now, to make this sort of helpful for you, I totally get this is just a first impressions, and those are difficult because my feelings may change. But what I've done from the initial get-go is ranked the items that I tried today. The blush is a little bit difficult to put in here, but I have slotted it into a spot. So that we end on a high note, let's start from worst to best. Keep in mind, not all of these are necessarily worst, but you get it. There had to be a ranking, so that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, in last place is the foundation. So as I'm sitting here editing, I'm not sure if I've put the pictures in during the voiceover or now, but this just did not sit right on my skin, and from a distance looks totally fine. Up close, it created pores. Like, I normally do not have a pore issue. I'm never really aware of my pores. I don't see them. Like, they behave themselves. This just, I don't know what it was, but it just created pores all across my face. So it's not even just that it showed texture. It's not that it was just sitting on top of my skin. It was like just highlighting every single pore on my skin, and don't appreciate that. So I am going to keep playing around with it. I am going to try it with a sponge instead of a brush, and hopefully that will help. But initial first impressions of this, not great. Not great at all. Next up, we have the cream blush from CoverGirl. The only reason that I'm putting it so far down is simply because the color is so intense. It's workable. I'm just going to have to use a very tiny amount. I find with cream blushes, there's always a learning curve with them, but it's a little intense, so I'm a little intimidated by it. Doesn't mean it's a bad product. It just means this particular shade I'm a little wary of, but at least I know that going into it. So I'm not saying it's a bad product. I'm just saying for the purposes of this ranking, it's on the lower end for me. Next, also from CoverGirl, is their Cooling Glow Stick. I actually don't mind this at all. Again, I'm ranking, so things like they can't all tie for first, but this one is very subtle, especially after you put powder on top of it. So you could amp it up by putting it on top of the powder as well. I chose not to for the purposes of this video, just to see what it would look like after everything's all said and done. You can still see it. It is very subtle. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This is the kind of highlight that I would gravitate towards in a more professional setting. So if I'm going to court or if I'm having a bunch of meetings in a day, this is the kind of look that I would gravitate towards. I will say that it blended out quite nicely. It doesn't have like any huge glitter chunks in it or anything of that nature, so I don't mind this at all. They call it a cooling, what is it? A cooling glow stick, and it does have a cooling sensation to it. I don't really know the point of that when it's just going on my cheekbones, but it does feel cool. So, all right. Next up, again, and I don't mean to be like dumping all over CoverGirl, but that's just the way that this ranking is going. The CoverGirl lip oil, I really do like it. I like the color of it. I like that it does have pigmentation to it. There were different like color options to choose from, so I did go for one that I thought would show up on my lips, and it does, and I'm happy about that. Lip oils, they are a bit more of a high maintenance kind of deal in that they wear off very quickly. I don't really mind that because I know that going into it, and it is very easy to top these kind of things up during the day. So I have no complaints about this. It's just that there's products that I preferred over this one, such as the cream blush from Physicians Formula, the Dewy Blush Elixir. I suspect that this bottle is going to last me approximately a lifetime and a half because a little goes a long way. The only drawback with it is that it's not necessarily buildable. Having said that, for my skin tone, the blush is still showing through, even with a fine layer of powder on top, so I like that. You do have to set it. It does stay not necessarily tacky, but it does stay wet. There's no real dry down to it. The other one, the one from CoverGirl, I did find, especially when I put it on my hand, that it didn't have that tackiness and it didn't have the same wetness as this one did. But having put a little bit of powder on it, I don't feel it anymore on my skin, so there's that. It's just, if you are a deeper skin tone than me, which isn't hard because I'm not all that deep. You're gonna have to look to the deeper shades that they have, simply because this is not going to show up on anybody who has medium skin or more. They did not have an extensive selection. In fact, now that I'm talking about it, I think they only had 2. And having said that, the other one is more of a peachy color, so if you're a medium to deeper skin tone, I don't think that these are going to work out for you, which affects my ranking. Let's put this below the lip oil because that's a little bit of bullshit. Also, the shade range on this foundation, not great at all. This is 520. I did do like some comparisons, and the next shade up was way too dark for me. This one, a little bit light for me. Workable once you put all the rest of it on, but you saw my initial reaction. I was kind of like, oh, that's a little pale. The deepest option that they had was not what I would consider to be deep. So I'm disappointed in their shade range, that's for sure. All right, moving on to second place, and that is going to go to the lip crayon. It's velvety, it's smooth, it's not sticky, it glides on nicely. I like the color of it. Again, they had different options to choose from. Some were lighter, some were darker, so there is a good range there. I just find it very comfortable on the lips. I'm liking it paired with the lip oil, to be honest, and it's not sliding around or anything like that, so I think the lip pencil is a winner. The only thing is that you're gonna have to sharpen it, and that's a bit of a pain in the ass. If this was like retractable, there'd be no stopping it, but you are gonna have to sharpen it, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. So that means then, in first place is the palette, and I don't know why I didn't expect it to be good. I think I'm just a snob when it comes to drugstore makeup. I guess I can own that. I just thought that it was going to be really powdery and that there was going to be no pigmentation to it. And then when I dipped into that first shade, it did produce a ton of kick-ups, so I was very concerned. No problems whatsoever. These shades are beautiful. The pigmentation, spot on. Blendability, so good. With those shimmery shadows you saw in the demo, using your finger, way easier than using a brush. I don't have a problem with that. I prefer to use my fingers with these kind of shades anyways. I'm just very happy with this, and this is one of those palettes that I will continue to use over and over again. Sometimes I can get the sense right away that when I do a review of a palette that it's going to be one of those palettes that just lives in a drawer. This is not, except for top drawer, because these are the kind of shades that make my heart happy, and I really like this palette. Really, really like it. Now I'm going to give an honorable mention to 3 products. Some of the mentions are not actually honorable, but this is not a new product, the setting spray. This I've had for, like I said, about a year. I love it. I love this setting spray. I love the mist on it. I love the smell of it. I love the effect of it. It doesn't leave my skin feeling tight or sticky. It's illuminating without being glittery, and it's just a fantastic setting spray. You do have to shake the ever-living crap out of it. That is the only warning I'll give, but small price to pay, honestly. The other 2, wah wah. So one is the Lash Paradise Glitter Topper from L'Oreal. It just doesn't really show up. Like, it just doesn't, like, there's some, and I guess subtle is the way to go for lashes. Like, I don't know what my expectations are, to be honest, but I wanted more from it. Like, it looks on the wand like it's gonna deposit a ton of little gold glitters. It doesn't. Like, there are some, but it's a very subtle effect, and I just don't think it's necessarily worth the money to go out and buy one of these for such a subtle effect. And it's not really like a standalone mascara, so it's not like I can just use this on its own and just be like, okay, well, it's subtle, but at least it still curls my lashes. It doesn't really do anything. It just deposits the odd random glitter speck, and I regret the purchase. It wasn't worth the money. Last but not least is the eyeliner from Catrice. This is the waterproof eyeliner pen. I struggled. Now, I have had it for a while. I don't reach for it like ever, but I thought I'd bust it out for the purposes of a drugstore video, and I'm going to be retiring it because it's a pain in the ass. I would not ever attempt to do a wing with this because I don't think it's designed to do that, to be honest. I had a hard enough time just lining the outer portion of each lid, let alone try to get any sort of precision in terms of a wing. So it's one of those, you'll hear me talk about eyeliners all the time where I'm like, it gets dried out too quickly and then it skips over top of itself. This is a classic example of that, where if there's a little bit of eyeliner already and then you go back over it trying to like smooth out the line, it's just not up to that task. I will be retiring this because I will never use it again. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on these new products from COVERGIRL and Physicians Formula. I am going to continue using them, trying to figure out how to make the foundation work, that kind of thing, and I will update you at some point whether or not my thoughts have changed on these products. But until then, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.